Love it or hate it. I mean, it has to be the best marketing campaign in history, right? Not only is it actually drawing attention to the positives and the negatives of Marmite itself, but it's now become a phrase. Oh, it's a bit Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. Fantastic. Anyway, the yeast extracty spread, beloved by Britons around the world, you know, you either love it or hate it. It's totally right. I see people on YouTube giving it a go and they slather it on like it's, I don't know, peanut butter or something.
Bon appetit.
Really, I use the tiniest scrape. And I've had it since I was a kid and I've fed it to my children. I think Marmite's really tasty. Is it because I grew up with it? I've got no way of knowing, but I enjoy it. One product I always used to like was Marmite hot cross buns. Supermarket Marks and Spencer used to do them, but for the past 2 years I've not been able to get them. I'm guessing they just don't do them anymore. So I have to make my own version. So that's what I'm going to do today. Make my own Marmite flavoured hot cross buns. These are cheesy, delicious and pretty easy. If the thought of having Marmite hot cross buns sends you into absolute convulsions, why not head over to Bake Across Europe? Kristen over there is making more traditional hot cross buns and looking at the history of this seasonal Easter treat. And while you're there, just check out everything on her channel. It's all great. I've made loads of her recipes. Go over there, give her a subscribe. She'd love it. So let's make our Marmite hot cross buns. Let's start by making our Marmite flavouring. I'm going to melt together 50 grams of butter and 3 rounded teaspoons of Marmite. Or you could amp this up a bit if you prefer. Just going to pop that in the microwave for about 45 seconds to a minute until melted. Give it a quick stir and just leave it on the side while I do everything else. So in a mixing bowl I'm going to combine 500 grams of flour, 7 grams of yeast, and I'm going to bring in 300 grams of milk, an egg, half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of white pepper. We don't need to add that much more salt. Marmite has already got a salty flavour. Combine all that and then bring in your buttery Marmite mix. It will turn a pleasing shade of brown, and now continue to mix and knead it. Now this dough is going to be pretty soft, pretty tacky, even as you continue working it. I recommend working on a floured surface, but also you might want to get a metal or plastic bench scraper as you go. And dead cheap to pick up. If there's too many instructions for you to follow here, I've got a full link to the ingredients and method in the description below. Bring that together, combine it, knead it for 5 to 7 minutes until it's springy and elastic. Pop a damp tea towel over the top and leave it to rest for at least an hour. Pop into an oiled tray, make sure that tray is oiled so that they spring away from the pan when they're done and also give you a lovely crisp base. Fold in and combine with 100 grams of red Leicester and 100 grams of cheddar. I mean, technically you could use any cheese you want. This is what I like to use. Once it's thoroughly combined, cut into 12 pieces. For some reason I had a moment here and cut them into 9 pieces, and therefore I ended up with absolutely monstrous hot cross buns, but they obviously taste the same. I think 12 would be the optimum number here. Then you're going to mix just a small amount of flour and water, about 100 grams of flour and a couple of tablespoons of water, just to make a thick paste. Pop into a piping bag to make your cross. This stage is optional, but obviously pretty traditional. cover with a tea towel and let your oven preheat for 200 degrees C, that's 400 Fahrenheit. Leave to prove for another 30 minutes. Then remove the tea towel and then you're going to bake them for about 20 to 25 minutes until they're golden brown and risen. These will actually bake quite soft. They won't be crisp and brittle like a roll. They'll be a very pillowy type of bread. After they're baked, try and leave them in the tin for a couple of minutes to cool down and then move to a cooling rack to rest for at least 10 minutes. Try and avoid tearing them apart with your hands. And there we have it, our Marmite hot cross bun. Nice and deformed, just the way I like it. Full of cheesy flavour and full of that lovely yeasty Marmitiness. Let's give it a try. Yeah, so a lovely savouriness provided by the Marmite. You could go mad with it if you wanted to and paste on even more Marmite if you prefer, but that's just the way I like it. A subtle savoury flavour that's unmistakably Marmite, but not so polarising, hopefully. The cheese just helps blend with it. Marmite and cheese are such a great combo. Fantastic. I'm pleased with those. Dead easy to make. Even easier if you've got a stand mixer and you can just chuck everything in and let it get on with it. I just couldn't bother to wash it up today, so I didn't bother. But otherwise, a great little treat. They're good today, but tomorrow, slice it open, toast it lightly, they'll catch quite quickly, add a little butter, and you'll be in heaven. It's a great little breakfast or tea time treat this Easter, if you want something a little bit different, at least until Marks & Spencer start selling them again. So as I said, please go visit Bake Across Europe, because she's got something a bit more traditional for you to try out, a more traditional hot cross bun. She asked for some advice on recipes and traditions for the hot cross bun in the UK, and I did what I could. So go and check that one out. But if you could like this video and hit subscribe, that'd be a real help. Thanks a lot.